Ladies and gentlemen, power is over. But that does not mean for one instant of a second that the fun is over. Without a doubt, you are here because the power is out. So stick around, because it's Power Out. Yeah, it's Power Out.
Hello friends, welcome to the Love Wrestling double feature of reactions this evening. Tuesday nights is, we say Tuesday is wrestling here at Love Wrestling. We're kicking off, of course, with Powerrrout, the NWA reaction, followed immediately by NXTea, the NXTea reaction. But before I get to all that good stuff, I gotta really thank the good people who help keep the lights on here at Love Wrestling. I'm, of course, talking about Manscaped. Support for Love Wrestling is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, which I have in my hands right here. Sounds great, feels great. It's got that little handy light, anti-nick technology, which will help prevent nicks and cuts. A1 feature, and so what we want you to do is join the over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. Head on over to manscaped.com, use our promo code LOVEWRESTLING. You're going to get 20% off and free worldwide shipping all over the world. No matter where you are on the globe, free shipping for you. That's Love Wrestling at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. And with that out of the way, I am welcoming my co-host of the show. It's Ella J. Ella, how are you?
I'm great to be here again, Zach. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so once again, you're a new addition to the show regularly, and it's just not only is it great to have you, but it's also great not to be looking for a guest week to week. I love having a revolving door of guests, but man, it just saves me the time, and it's great to have you.
I'm so glad to be here officially on my second show as co-host again. I don't know how to follow up with that Manscaped ad.
There's really not really much that can follow it. We almost have to just kind of leave it in its own bubble before jumping into the reaction for NWA. We had a pretty good show to discuss tonight. I was looking forward to it once I saw the card. How did you feel about it tonight?
Overall, I was very happy. There was multiple women's segments. Obviously, anyone who knows me knows I'm huge for women's wrestling. But also at the beginning, really opening the show with Cardona and Mike Knox really starting it off. And then obviously that leading into a huge title match next week against Trevor Murdoch. Obviously, we'll get into that in a bit. But pretty solid overall, I must say.
Yeah, I like that Knox and Cardona segment. I was really hesitant about Knox's introduction to the NWA, but now that he's kind of more the heater in the role in Cardona's presence on the show, it's a good fit for him. But before they got to that, there was also a very quick segment with Scion, who was kicking off the show. He was we're just recording from studio, no one in the arena at the time. He's saying, wrestling is a sport. It's about finding where the competitors find themselves through violence, and he sees Saul Renaro as a fellow professional wrestler, and one day they will cross paths, and they are both going to learn something about one another. We talked at length a lot about Scion, but I think what's really cool here is this whole character shift of Saul Renaro, because he's also a very good wrestler, and I don't know if we've really got to see that in this whole comedy role that he's had throughout the years at NWA. And now that he has an edge to him, I think he's a really great foil to Scion, and we're leading to possibly a pretty good grudge match.
I think so too, and plus with Sal more transitioning now to this kind of psycho crazy character, I wonder too if anything that Scion said has to do with who his father is, who we still don't know. We just know he's a former champion in the NWA. So maybe something he said in that promo is a little clues, little nuggets of information. I don't know yet, but definitely I think Sal and Scion are going to be meeting sometime down the line.
Oh, absolutely. I do wonder if like someone who's more like well versed in NWA's history, like is picking up on those things. Like I'm sure, like you just mentioned, Ella, like maybe he's dropping clues. Like I myself, I've only been watching NWA since Power started on YouTube when they had Mr. Anderson, Eddie Kingston, and all this. I'm so lost when we get into like the really the deep dive into their history pre Billy Corgan and everything.
Definitely too. I don't know. I'm trying to like think of if extracting information from that promo that Scion did, and I have no idea. Again, could it be like somebody who's very well known? Could it be somebody maybe we've never heard of? There's still that theory about Austin Idol. We don't know yet.
That's up in the air, certainly. Before we continue, let's say hi to a couple folks who are joining us here tonight live on YouTube and our other platforms. Bobby, always great to have you, friend. Always love hearing your dream matches, and thank you so much. Like Bobby is just continuously dropping me like fantastic matches. Admittedly, I have not had the chance to check them all out, but whenever like I see a familiar name like a Holodead or Thunder Rosa, I'm jumping right on that match. Bobby's a great person to speak to when it comes to match recommendations, and of course Ed, who is one of the co-hosts of NXTea, who's going to be joining you on this very stream right after we've discussed NWA. He'll be joined by Astrid and Cody discussing tonight's NXTea. But back to the Cardona and Knox segment. What do you think about Cardona? Like, it's a fine line he has to walk because like he's talking about revitalizing the NWA, not making it stale, but at the same time, you're calling your product stale. How do you feel about that?
It's not like you want somebody who's in the promotion to like promote it unless it's like a heel character, because then it would make sense. But I don't know if I don't really know what angle they're trying to do by calling their own product stale.
Yeah, like I get it, but like again, it just as a viewer, say I'm a casual viewer, say I'm one of the people who watched it on YouTube tonight because it wasn't on Fight. If this was my first time watching NWA and you have a guy coming in and calling the whole product stale and boring and needs music and pyro and ballyhoo, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not going to continue watching. But before he can continue his diatribe on how he feels about NWA, he's confronted by the champ, Trevor Murdoch. He comes out and he says that NWA is more than 3 letters. It's a rich history. It's Starrcade. It's the Crockett Cup. It's all these amazing competitors who have passed through the doorways of Chase Park Plaza and all the other storied NWA venues. He says he wants to fight Matt Cardona for that history, to which Matt says first he has to go through Mike Knox, and first he has to put the title on the line. Obviously, that match is coming up in the near future, and I think it's kind of a no-brainer who's going to pick up the W there.
Yeah, I think it's cool to, instead of just diving right into Cardona versus Trevor Murdoch, Cardona is utilizing this shield with Mike Knox, and honestly, I kind of prefer Mike Knox in this role, as sad as that is. But honestly, like, Cardona is coming in really, I think pretty good acclaim. Obviously, he's been in Impact, he's been huge in GCW on the Indies, and now in NWA, he's making a name for himself. Instead of going right after Trevor Murdoch, it gives some time, like, Trevor's probably going to go home with the victory there, unless, it's for the title, I think they said. So obviously Trevor's going to go away with the victory to ultimately lead up to Cardona and Murdoch down the line. But I think it's a good way to cement Cardona kind of as this cowardly heel with the shield in front of him. It works to his advantage. He's a great heel. People love to hate him, so he's definitely playing up on that.
He's knocking it out of the park every time he's there. And, spoilers for the very end of the show, they confirm this match with Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch happening on the very next episode of NWA Powerrr. And again, this is absolutely fine. But I just can't help but think about how they debuted Mike Knox in like a world title match on the pay-per-view and how easy it would have been just to have them on NWA Powerrr. But that is what it is. I want to say hi to our friend Dara Amazing joining us from over Twitch. Thanks so much for tuning in, friend. And I guess you can say Knox and Cardona were being ruthless. I see what you did there. Very well done. So with that, we have a championship match to look forward to coming up next week. But we kick off with the opening contest of tonight's NWA Powerrr, Kylie Rae versus Allison Kay. I was looking forward to this the moment I heard it was announced. Match begins with Kylie Rae looking to shake hands at the bell, but Allison is wise after their last encounter, in which Kylie was a little underhanded after that handshake. We get a bit of a chain wrestling match to start things off. A second handshake attempt kind of turns up the intensity a little gear. Allison Kay takes a little exception, and she starts dominating Kylie Rae until Kylie can use her speed to her advantage. Back and forth action, really good sprint towards the end. Allison Kay looks for a gory bomb, but Kylie reverses it with a sunset flip of sorts, picking up the win. Marty Bell and Tootie Lynn come out to meet their tag team partners and greet them accordingly. Really good opening match. What do you think of this one?
Really good opening match, especially between two teams that are very much over with the crowd in baby faces and kayfabe terms, whatever. I did like the consistent storytelling too, and Allison Kay remembering what Kylie did the last time that they had met. And I think it was Bobby who mentioned it too. This might obviously also lead to Marty Bell and Tootie Lynn going at it, and maybe then Kylie and Tootie will get a tag team versus tag team matchup for the NWA Women's Tag Team Championship, since they were kind of robbed of it since Kylie was replaced then ultimately a couple months ago. I believe in October it was. So hopefully this is leading to not a rebrand, but like a rejuvenation in the tag team division, the women's tag team division, and Kylie and Tootie Lynn obviously can mark themselves as singles competitors, but obviously if they can take over the victory over both competitors between between the Hex, then I mean they have a bragging right, and they, I think, get that #1 contendership.
Absolutely. I think a tag team match is down the line. Bobby jumping in saying he enjoyed the match as well. The comment's not coming up. There it is. That he enjoyed the match, and he would also like to see, I think this makes sense, Tootie Lynn versus Marty Bell down the line as well. Also want to say hi to Leo. Leo Samara's joining us. Bulletproof Heart himself. Thanks so much for tuning in, friend. Hope you enjoyed NWA if you tuned in tonight, and I hope you stick around for the NXT reaction immediately after tonight's Powerrrout. So yeah, great opening match. I look forward to seeing how this storyline and progresses, and what kind of a blow-off match we're going to get between these two exciting tag teams. Very excited stuff coming up. Next up, we have Kiera Hogan and Camille having a bit of a face-to-face backstage with May Valentine moderating. Kiera says she's grateful for her opportunities, but she works hard for each and every one, and saying now she's had the opportunity at the Impact Women's Championship, at the NWA Tag Team Women's Championship, but now she is obsessed with the idea of Camille's destruction in her pursuit of capturing the NWA Women's Championship, the Burke. Camille says Kiera shouldn't just be grateful, she should be honored to have a shot at Camille. Oh man, I love this segment. Go ahead, please.
Camille really played up on that obsessed word, which was very appropriate. Like Mickie James is known to do like the obsessed character. Her ex WWE theme song was Obsession, and everybody knows that Kiera Hogan has a real life appreciation for Mickie James. So I was very pleasantly surprised Camille was given she had great mic time on here. She really, and then in the end she said with every flame can be put out, essentially, and then she kind of mocked Kiera was saying that's on period. I was very pleasantly surprised by Camille. I love how she played up on like the puns and all of that. This is gonna be a cool matchup.
I think so too. Camille is just getting stronger on the microphone every time she has time with the microphone. Like her substance was good. She spoke with confidence. She had poise. She's really coming into her role as a champion. And I'm so excited because I've seen her progress so much more week to week. I'm trying to imagine her ceiling right now, and I'm excited to see her reach that. She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was going to say I agree with you. I was very pleasantly surprised. I liked the promo a lot from Camille, and I think it adds to the intensity as Kiera Hogan is kind of this underdog, and also this running theme that Kiera has obsessions and stuff, and definitely Camille took advantage of that.
Yeah, a good shout too, picking up on that little detail about the obsession and previous uses as a theme song as well. It's a good eye, as it were. Bobby, thank you. So let's see what. pulling up your comment here. Looking forward to watching Kiera Hogan versus Camille for the NWA Women's Championship. Can't come soon enough, but I'm looking forward to watching this storyline progress. Next up, we have Kyle Davis with the Dirty Sexy Boys, Dirty Dongo, and JTG. Dongo immediately makes things weird by shushing Kyle Davis. He keeps things weird by calling the Ill-Begotten by the wrong name and getting very intimate with a Popeye candy stick that he's enjoying. They're inevitably confronted by Captain Yuma, Rush Freeman, and a third person who I didn't quite recognize at the time. I know my notes pick up his name later on in the show, but now he's the third member of the Ill-Begotten. It's becoming a bit of a faction, not just Yuma and Rush Freeman anymore. JTG says that, a 2-on-2 match would be a little unfair. We'll take on all three members of you, to which Captain Yuma accepts. He extends a hand, and then Dango just pours half a liter of baby oil into his hand. They both looked into the camera at the same time, and it was just a marvelous reaction.
It was great, and it should be noted, too, that the wording of, Captain Yuma said 3-on-2, but then I can't remember his tag team partner that was newer. Yeah. It was like, so any three of us? And then Dango is like, yes. So obviously, they didn't say any three of the Ill-Begotten. They just said any three. So they found a loophole, which will obviously came into play later on.
Yeah, and that was a pleasant surprise swerve, and we will discuss it later. But at the time, I just laughed. I thought that was just a really funny line. Any three of us? It's there's three of you. It's very clever. That got a good laugh out of me. Next up, May Valentine is backstage with La Rebellion and Homicide. Again, continue talk about a rumored 6-person tag division. Yeah. Anyway. Not really a lot to take away from this segment other than the team just they shrug it off. They, especially with Mecha Wolf saying that NWA wants to keep changing things up. Every time they've stepped up the game in the NWA, they change the rules and they'll step up to the next challenge. Once again, I'm not really sure where they're going with this, presenting it as a rumored division. I'm not sure what the gain is. Personally, it doesn't make me feel any more intrigued, not knowing if it will happen or not.
Basically, La Rebellion was just saying that they are the greatest tag team of all time, and they have Homicide to back them up in their corner. So I think this OGK has to bring in Then again, though, OGK, granted, this was pre-taped before Impact and all of that, but obviously we've seen an Impact, we've seen Vincent, we've seen PCO. So OGK, which is Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, obviously I think are going to have to bring in somebody to even the odds, whether that be Vincent, PCO, or somebody maybe who's a surprise. We don't know.
You can't go wrong with any of those picks, PCO or Vincent or anyone else from the the Ring of Honor. It's going to make for an interesting trios match down the line. Whether that blossoms into a full-blown NWA division remains to be seen. Next up, we have Maddie Rankowski making her NWA debut, simply named Maddie for NWA purposes, taking on Melina. This is presented as Living Legend versus a promising upstart. Maddie surprises Melina very early on with a flurry of offense. She is swinging for the fences, but goes for it one too many times before Melina takes control of the match, at least for a little while. Anytime Maddie is on the offense, she's looking for a quick pin. She executes a beautiful axe kick out on the apron with Melina between the ropes, falling back into the ring. Leads to a 2 count. Melina hits a modified cutter, following it up. Now, excuse me, I missed the name of this finisher, and I know Melina does it a lot. It's that reverse DDT into this leg drop. It's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I don't think they said the name of it either on there. Okay. I know which one you're talking about, though.
It deserves a name. It's such a cool move.
Yeah, and I honestly, Maddie came out, Maddie Brankowski, I know, I've had her on my show before, and she's huge in Mission Pro, and she's pretty recurring on AEW, too, on, Dark and Elevation, even, I think, a couple times on Dynamite or Rampage, but she came out guns blazing and immediately went for, the submission that I was, obsessed with right out of the gate, and then, obviously, Melina came back with, in between the shoulder blades, her foot on her shoulder blades, and then in the end, though, Melina took home the victory. But Melina at the end, though, for a second, I think did show some sportsmanship but then she quickly switched back to like I'm the baddie now. Basically, I could see a glimmer of her showing her sportsmanship. I think Melina's slowly evolving and really embodying this kind of entitled veteran living legend, and I like to see it slowly morph how it has gradually.
The evolution has been really cool for
Yeah.
Melina. Like I live for slow paced heel turns, face turns. Like, take your time with that kind of thing. Like, and Melina is just she's doing it excellently. Bobby jumping in saying he would love to see more Mission Pro wrestling show up on the NWA. I don't want to go too far back in time, but like with Thunder Rosa's connection to Mission Pro, it was so disheartening when she was not part of NWA Powerrr, when so many Mission Pro wrestlers were on the event as well. But at the time she had signed to to AEW, so she graduated to bigger leagues, and I totally respect that. But Thunder Rosa should have been on that program. All that to say is Mission Pro is an excellent platform. They are doing some amazing work, and again, you've spoken to more than a handful of MPW talent.
Yeah, I was just on a mission yesterday, actually, with Mission Pro, so it perfectly all kind of intermingles together.
Exciting times. Great promotion, and definitely worth. Would love to see more MPW talent show up on NWA. So moving on, we've got a segment backstage with Genocide, Taryn Terrell, and Paula Blaze at something of a peacemaking summit with May Valentine. Again, Taryn Terrell just stole the show here. She insists that this is her pursuit of world peace, and she's going to execute that by getting Paula Blaze and Genocide back on the same page. Paula says she loves Genocide, that she's a sister. Before she can really elaborate, Taryn Terrell just cuts her off and asks Genocide, like, do you accept the apology? Genocide, like, kind of indifferently accepts the apology. And then Taryn Terrell goes on to solve the climate crisis, or so we think.
Taryn Terrell is like embodying this like pageant girl, and I mean it goes well though. Like she's a vet, but she is so lively and dramatic and entertaining, and the three of them are totally different, but it works with like under the umbrella of a veteran like Taryn Terrell. And I love how she's just like, can you compute faster to Genocide, because Genocide wasn't answering. Like, I love that. And it's just, Taryn Terrell is so entertaining, and all three of them together, I think, I mean, obviously you have Genocide as the powerhouse, Paula is kind of this sassy, like ruthless, like grappler kind of, and then Taryn, honestly, Taryn can just be the mouthpiece too. She's great in the ring too, but
it's easy to forget how good she is because she's been doing like this character work for NWA for so time. But like even I forgot, I forgot how good she was until like Impact Wrestling tweeted a throwback video of her versus Gail Kim, and it's like, oh yeah, that match was like frigging fire. It was great stuff. And Taryn Terrell, like she went toe to toe with Gail Kim, and it wasn't Gail, who is amazing by the way, wasn't Gail carrying Taryn Terrell by any stretch.
No, I loved that segment so much. Like, Taryn is kind of, she's embodying like this pageant, like Miss Congeniality thing, talking about like trying to solve world peace and like the climate crisis or whatever. And so I want to know, like, what is she gonna do next? Honestly,
like you said, they are so different. This was the first segment where it like really clicked how different they are, but also like in a complimentary way. Like, it's the odd couple, the odd trio, so to speak, and there's something of an unsung hero faction of NWA right now, and I really hope they are provided with more time for segments, because that was a very entertaining segment into itself. Next up, another interview segment with Kyle Davis with Idol Sports Management surrounding him. Tyrus has some things to say that we're glossing over, but the takeaway from this segment is Black G's confirming that, taking the time to confirm that Jordan Clearwater and Marche Rocket will now represent Idol Mania Sports and Management's interest in the tag team division. What do you think of Marche and Jordan Clearwater as a tag team?
I guess spoiler alert, not spoiler alert, it didn't really work out for them later in the evening.
That's true, yeah.
But I mean, it works for their faction because you have Tyrus as the other champion, and then by default, they're two different, completely, again, different characters. Jordan Clearwater has his yellow, like, very fancy robe. Marche Rocket is like this powerhouse. I mean, it works for them. Obviously, didn't work out for them tonight, though. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I was really liking the team of Marche Rocket and Slice Boogie, and now that Slice Boogie is part of MLW, I don't really know what that pertains to his NWA contract. But I'm glad that NWA hasn't forgotten about Marche Rocket, and they're giving him something to work with. Like he's very good.
He's so funny in person too, and you can see that translated over into NWA. So it makes me happy to see Marche Rocket.
Absolutely. For the tag team division part of this segment, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
But we got another tag team match, or specifically a handicap match. It's the Dirty Sexy Boys taking on the Ill Begotten in a 3-on-2 action. But as we just discussed, Ill Begotten kind of twisted their own words in the segment earlier on, and they swerve the Dirty Sexy Boys, as it's not the Ill Begotten, it's not Captain Yuma, Rush Freeman, and Alex Taylor. It's going to be Rush Freeman and the Fixers, who are honorary members of the Ill Begotten on this particular evening. DSB are surprised by it, and they're just destroyed by the Fixers throughout the match. JTG is beaten down, and like he's singled out, and he can't get to until he can finally get the hot tag to Dango. He's a house on fire. He looks to hit the leg drop before Alex Taylor looks to distract him, allowing the Fixers to hit a double brainbuster. And instead of going for the cover, they go to the corner. Rush Freeman produces an envelope, pays them off, tags himself in, gets the cover on Dango, and the Ill Begotten get a win over the Dirty Sexy Boys. All the while, Captain Yuma looks like he wasn't really privy to this little deal. Yeah. What did you think of this segment?
Obviously, I kind of had a feeling, because when they said any three of us, that they were going to bring in some outside reinforcement. Obviously, as Captain Yuma is kind of like half the size of Dango and JTG. So I thought something like that would happen. But I thought it was funny too how they added like that little detail of them paying the Fixers like for their services, because that's kind of like what they do. They do like odd jobs kind of, and they're there to fix the situation. And I mean, they did. They ultimately were the reason that the Ill Begotten got the victory. I don't know what's next then for Dirty Sexy Boys, but I love Dirty Sexy Boys. I just love saying their name too. Dirty Dango earlier, that segment was really funny. But what's next for them, I don't know. And is there going to be some maybe tension between Captain Yuma because he wanted to be a part of the match? We don't know. I guess stay tuned.
Yeah, I definitely see some sort of friction between the Ill Begotten, which is now a trio with Alex Taylor thrown in. Again, someone I was not familiar with, and they didn't really even bother to say his name until halfway through this contest. Yeah. But all that to say, look, I like Captain Yuma. I like him having a little more time, and now with Saul Renaro moving into this more aggressive kind of role, that does leave a role for a comedy guy like Captain Yuma to get a little more screen time. Bobby with a good question here. The North American Championship was not represented on tonight's NWA Powerrr, but he's asking who is going to be the next challenge for Chris Adonis. I mean, based on last week, I almost want to say it's going to be Scion, because, Scion talked about how he's going to run through Judias, and Judias is just like the first chapter on his path towards the North American Championship. What do you think, Ella?
For some reason, I'm thinking like Mims for some reason, because there was no direction for him after it seeming last week. I keep wanting to say Crimson, Anthony Mayweather, excuse me. So I like Mims's style, like athleticism. I think him versus Chris Adonis would mesh really well together. I don't know what the direction is from Mims, but I'm trying to think like realistically who they could bring in. Sorry, I was reading the comments. Hello. Sorry.
That's our own Chris Parrish walked in hearing Ella J say that she likes the Dirty Sexy Boys, and I feel like this is a bad time to say hi.
Yeah. But I don't know what direction they're going in with Mims, so I'm trying to think like who realistically, like, to be fair though, didn't Scion technically, did he win or did he lose last week?
He
with Judias.
That's a weird one, because Judias picked up Saul Renaro and body slammed him into Scion.
So technically he won by DQ, probably. Then. So technically he won by DQ. Okay. So maybe, I think Scion, though, is going to finish his stuff with Saul Renaro and Judias first. So honestly, I don't know who's next for Chris Adonis and Strictly Business. I don't know.
It's good questions, and I do look forward to Chris Adonis and Strictly Business showing up back on TV soon. Hopefully, that'll become clear as NWA moves towards big programming in the coming weeks. Next up, Kyle Davis with Rodney Mack and Anthony Mayweather. Rodney says he punched Jax Dane for disrespecting his wife Jazz, and says he's going to kick Jax Dane's ass before leaving the scene. Again, man of few words, but he made his words impactful. Meanwhile, Anthony Mayweather says that he and Rodney certainly agree on how skeezy and underhanded Jax Dane can be. He also takes the time to put over Miz, his friend, his student, and how Jax Dane even got into his head. We discussed at length how that played out last week with Mike Mims, a big strong Mims, just taking a loss so Anthony Mayweather can get a match with Jax Dane down the line. It was a very odd segment in regards to NWA programming. Anyway, the takeaway here is some guy, bandana, Macho Man glasses, comes out. He's asking if he can get a selfie with Jax Dane. Turns out he's a lawyer. Turns out he's dropping serving papers to Anthony Mayweather, who can no longer get within a mile of Jax Dane, nor can he even utter his name. Oddball segment. What do you think of this?
Christopher Larry, I believe, was his name.
Christopher Larry, thank you. I missed that.
And like Kyle Davis noted too, like they work together, and then at the end, I want to say Crimson. Anthony Mayweather literally said Jax Dane. So does that count as a penalty, like a legal fee? Like, is he gonna go to jail because of that, or was it not into full effect? Like, I don't know. I just like what? Oh, there.
Yep. Whenever my camera shakes, you can consider it's my cat jumping up onto the desk. So I'm just going to hold him up here for a couple seconds. Please carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, how is this going to work when they work together? Like, are they going to have to film via satellite from separate locations and in an undisclosed location? And also what happens because didn't technically Mayweather now gets a match against Jax Dane? Is that going to be stopped, halted for a certain allotted period of time? Legally, how do you what?
It's going to be odd to see it play out. I mean, we also did have the commentary team kind of question the legitimacy of that particular lawyer. So we might be leading to sorry, you caught the name Christopher
something Larry. I just remember I'm what? It was some Christopher something Larry.
Yeah. I think Christopher Larry's lawyer credentials are certainly in question.
He didn't look like a lawyer.
No. It was, this could have been Danny Deals, or someone who gets their outfit from the same costume shop. Didn't look like a lawyer. Certainly going to play in a very odd way. But either way, I just want to get. I want to call him Crimson as well, so we're both guilty of it. I want to see Jax Dane and Anthony Mayweather get their blow-off match, because it's a long time coming. Yeah. Next up, what do we got? We got Joe Galley announcing that Billy Corgan has come up with a new match. It's called Team War. I was a little lost in the rules because Austin Idol just kept jumping in talking about how much money he makes. But from what I understand, it's going to be 4 teams of 3, and it's going to be a fatal 4-way match, and they can be eliminated by pinfall, submission, or thrown over the top rope. There's a $30,000 purse on the line. Not much details. Not really. I don't know what to make of that one.
Purse?
Are you reading? Yeah, like a fight purse.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I was like, what?
Top of the line, Louis Vuitton, one of a kind signature edition.
I was so confused.
I mean, that would certainly lead to a wrestler having some sort of prop to work with in the coming weeks following. But we got to keep an eye out. Team War coming to NWA sometime in the near future, and I really hope more thought was put into it than the Championship Series. You all know how I feel about the Championship Series, so I will not blow another gasket.
Astrid. I was so confused. I'm like, what? Like, guys, I don't watch fighting outside of wrestling. So I really don't know.
All good. I think the first time I heard the term too, it gave me a bit of a double take as well.
Yeah.
But we move on to the main event of the evening. Once again, my cat has decided to interrupt the programming, but I'm going to persevere. We got Hawks Aerie versus Marche Rocket and Jordan Clearwater. Clearwater starts the match with a bit of showboating before he's just shut down by Luke. We turn to Marche Rocket and PJ squaring off with PJ utilizing his quickness to overcome Marche Rocket's size. Back and forth action before Black G's gets involved. I'm going to have to start locking my cat in another room during these broadcasts. I do apologize. All the while, Idolmania gets involved from the outside. They start targeting Luke and run him into the apron a couple times. Then a better part of the match sees, Luke getting kept away from the corner, unable to tag his son. But eventually PJ does come in with the hot tag. Tyrus and Black G's get ejected from the match after some continued interference. And the rest of the match is just bedlam until Hawks Aerie can pick up a surprise win over Jordan Clearwater with their finishing move. Very, very impressive, kind of reminiscent of like the Viking experience that the War Raiders do. What did you think of this one?
I loved the ending. Like, I don't know what Hawks Aerie, what that ending maneuver was. Like, I don't know what the name of it, but I thought it looked really cool. Although there seemed to be some confusion at the end of who was the legal man and getting the cover when it looked like the ref was talking to them after it. But
yeah.
that final like finishing maneuver, it's like kind of like a 3D. I don't know how to explain it, but it was really, really cool and innovative. I haven't seen something like that before, so I thought that was really cool and very cool to see Hawks Aerie getting the win here.
Absolutely. I do like that detail. I got to give kudos to the ref for picking that up because Luke Hawks went for the cover, but it was PJ who was legal.
Yeah.
And you saw PJ go for the cover too, but then he just like kind of accepted, like, okay, Dad's already making the cover, no big deal. But the ref's like, no, you're the legal guy. Ticket. Okay, you're just going right down.
Ticket's the star of the show.
Oh, don't I know it? He's the ratings guy. Like, he's always been the one picking up ratings.
Do you want to get Manscaped ticket? I don't think so.
Oh my goodness. Okay, not to like talk about other programming, but that was a big thing on the last episode of Blowing Off Stream. He just kept interfering, and all of the guests were just like asking us to shave the cat, which we would not do. Manscaped would not advise us to shave cats. This is a personal use trimmer.
Yeah.
The other move I want to talk about, and again, we want to afford the team from NXT time to jump in and discuss NXT, but I just can't get over Luke's, PJ's, I don't even know what to call this. It's like a floating stall suplex. Like, he just picks them up with, like, controlled strength. It's a beautiful looking move. Look up PJ Hawks' suplex.
I'm certainly not agile like that, so.
It's a very impressive maneuver. And the event concludes with Joe Galli confirming what we said earlier tonight and on Powerrrout, that next week the main event for NWA Powerrr will be for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Mike Knox takes on the champion, Trevor Murdoch. And Ella J and I will be back to review and react to that week's NWA.
I find it very interesting too that Cardona was the one who wanted the NWA Heavyweight Championship on the line between Mike Knox. Like, don't you realize that if like Knox wins, like there's gonna be dissension there? So I don't.
It's a bit strange. It certainly is a bit strange. Mm-hmm. Oh man, now you have me worried we're gonna have like a finger poke of doom situation. Like Mike Knox picks up the win and just lies down for Matt Cardona.
Yeah, so like it was interesting that Cardona was the one who wanted that stipulation, like the title on the line. So I found that very interesting. I thought it would make more sense for it to be a non-title match, like you win and then Cardona gets a title shot or something. Like you have to go through Mike Knox first, but the title's just immediately on the line. So I feel like there has to be something else up NWA's sleeve with that.
Absolutely. We're going to see how it plays out. I'll be looking forward to it next week. Hopefully they get it all sorted out and it actually starts at 6:05 on Fight and not for free on YouTube. Yeah, we can only hope with the NWA sometimes. But once again, I'm Zach. You can follow me on social media, and Ella, if you'd like to take the time. We need a more graceful sign-off. I have to get accustomed to having a co-host, but the time is yours for your social media plugs.
You can just follow me where it says right under my name at It's Ella J on Twitter, and if you go to the link tree in my bio, it has links to Twitter, Instagram, all my podcasts and articles and a lot of stuff. So the easiest way is definitely Twitter, though, and tickets back.
Tickets flaunting his tail as an appropriate sign-off. So thanks so much for tuning in. Please hang out on this very stream after our extra music. You're going to be joined by Ed, Cody, and Astrid reacting to tonight's NXT on NXTea. Thanks for tuning in. We're back next week.
Hello, and oh, that's not the right screen. Hello, and welcome to NXT. I'm Ed, joined by that one, Astrid, and Cody's down here. This one's a little bit easier.
Off to a great start, as always.
Yes. This is why I'm not allowed to do this. We've got our friends in the chat. Are amazing. It's NXT time. We got our friend Choco Gaming saying happy tea time. It is happy tea time. We had a great time with this show, by the way. We're going to start off with something a little weird, but we had a great time with this show. Throughout the entire show, we kept saying, wow, how is this the same people that put on a show last week and then put on this show this week? Everything from the moment the show started just felt better. But we can't not get into the end of the show. So we had the main event match, and the match ended, and that's great. And we'll talk all about that in a little bit. We're going to get to one key part, and then we're going to move on to somebody else saying happy things. We no longer have a Walter in WWE. Nope, not happening. He's gone. Walter is gone. Long live Gunther. After the end of the match, Walter announced that his name is Gunther. For those who haven't been on the internet today, finding out all about this lovely thing, the WWE on the 13th trademarked the name Gunther Starks. Now, seems fine enough, right? Yeah, this guy was a German U-boat captain in 1944, who died in 1944, while serving for the Nazis. Oh, WWE. Oh, WWE. I can't with you right now. I just can't. But we're going to drop that for now. We're going to go ahead and say hi to some more friends. We've got our friend Carl from Turnbuckle Studios coming in saying, I got my cup of tea for NXT. I do have my cup of tea. And by the way, you can get this mug and many other things at lovewrestlingshop.ca. So go ahead in there and get that. Tara Amazing saying, this show was a bit better than last week. This part was far and away better than last week's show. Yeah. In my mind, everything felt like it flowed better this week. Yes. Oh God, what has WWE come to? I don't remember who posted it, but somebody posted a conversation that somebody would have had with Vince McMahon, where it comes to, should we Google these new names? We're going to give people. No, why would we bother Googling them? That's just going to waste time. Let's just go ahead and throw them out there and see what happens. Oh, this is submission sorority all over again. If nobody knows why that's problematic,
don't Google it.
Google it.
That one.
No.
Google it. For those of you who aren't familiar.
I didn't forget it happened. I forgot that that's what the name of it was.
Yep. It was quickly changed to Team PCB because they couldn't have anything more creative for them.
They didn't have time to come up with something more creative. They had to change it on a short notice.
They really did. It was within 24 hours that name was changed real
It's
fast.
why I think that with all of the backlash that's came out today from this announcement, I think we're just getting Gunther.
Yeah, next week it is
Stop.
going. It is just. There's a reason why he didn't say Starks at the end of that promo. When he said Gunther, there was a reason why he stopped
It wasn't
there.
even a promo, though, right? It was just he cut off the ring announcer and did his own victory announcement that the winner of this match, Gunther.
Yes. I mean, for Walter, that might as well be a promo. The dude, like, he can talk just fine. He doesn't often need to. Like, you don't need to have Walter doing 10 minutes on the mic. You just let Walter go out there and slap people and promo done.
We did get a Walter promo earlier in the night.
We did. We did.
In German or Austrian or whatever language he was speaking.
I think he was speaking in German, but I don't know. I'm American. It sounds Greek to me. There we go. Let's just take that American stereotype and just fortify it real good. No. It was either German or Austrian. I don't know.
I like how we go American, Canadian, Puerto Rican. That's a great combination here.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna let other people talk. Astrid, let's go ahead and let you talk about what was your favorite thing of the show.
I was stuck between two, but I guess I'll go with this one because I liked it a little bit better. But my favorite thing of the night was definitely having JB, versus the Creed brothers. I know the Creed brothers have been good with their matches, but I feel like this one was even they exceeded my expectations within the match. Basically, like it was better than I thought it would be. And JBBJ, I know they've wrestled a little bit, but I feel like this was probably their best match so far with them tonight too. Like it was a great combination for both of them, and I didn't think it was, but it surprisingly worked for me a lot. So I hope we can see it again in the future sometime again because I really enjoyed it a lot. The back and forth action was just incredible for me. So that was my favorite thing tonight for sure.
Cody.
Yeah, I mean, that match just... I said before it actually happened, when I actually considered what the matchup between the two was going to be, and as they were making their entrances, I said it to you guys in our pre-show, or like our chat that we had, this is going to be a hard match. This is going to be a physical match. And then 20 seconds into the match, we get Jensen with a stiff knee to Brutus Creed, knocking his mouth guard out and leaving him like flat on his back and then reeling backwards. Like that was physical. That was hard. Vic and Wade even talked about it on commentary that these guys don't shy away from the physicality. They, this match isn't going to go long because, like, look at how hard these guys are hitting each other. It was just a brutal display between them of just hard, the epitome of strong style wrestling. Nobody looked like they were pulling their punches. Nothing looked like they were coming up short. This was just hard hitting throughout. It was a relatively short match, but it didn't feel short.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like it got a lot of time, and I want this match again. I want this match on a bigger stage with a bigger feud and a title on the line because these two teams just rocketed themselves to the upper echelon of tag teams in NXT with this one match.
And now I'm excited for other things that the Creeds are going to do and that Briggs and Jensen are going to do. Because with teams like this, you can throw them against a team like Imperium. And you say, oh, Imperium doesn't, you don't think of as strong style. Trust me, these two are going to be able to go with these teams like that. If that's how they're willing to go, that's going to be great. How about the grizzled young veterans? They're going to be able to really go hard with these teams. Now, whether or not they're going to be allowed to in NXT is a completely different story. But that could be a fun match to see coming out of this. We could see, in 2 weeks, we could see grizzled young veterans against the Creed brothers. If the Dusty Classic shakes out that way. The only thing I have written down for this match is this match ruled.
Yeah,
That's all I needed. Creeds move on. This match ruled. We do have Turnbuckle Studios in here. True strong style is still alive and well, as seen in this match. It really is. People give WWE a hard time for being sports entertainment-y and being not strong style 99 times out of 100, and they're right. But the few that are in there that are willing to do it and are given the green light to go ahead and do it, it feels so nice to see it every now and then.
Yeah, the one thing coming out of this match that I really, really appreciated too was, even though the finish ended up being a little botched by the Creeds, Brutus still did enough to make it look like he did what he needed to do to make the move land. The way they've been pulling that move off in their squashes, I think, has been Julius lifting it up and Brutus finishing it with a power bomb. But Brutus ended up a little bit too close this time and ended up with him almost more in a burning hammer torture rack kind of position and just kind of threw him over into the attempted bomb of some kind. Still looked really hard on impact. I know it wasn't what they were going for, but big credit to him for managing to still catch that and make it look like something that he intended on doing in the moment.
Yeah. And like I said, like we've all said, things happen in the ring. It's how you take that and make it look good that makes you a true star. Because a perfect match is so hard to find and they're so rare. Matches go wrong. I mean, matches go wrong all the time. Look at Ridge Holland. Pre-show match where Ricochet doesn't get over far enough and his foot lands right on top of Ridge's nose. Ridge is out for 6 weeks and he's like, I'm fine. Cody, what was your favorite thing from tonight?
It wasn't even a match. It was setting up for a match or potentially a couple matches. It was the North American title picture and how it's playing out right now. It started inconspicuously even. It was Tony D'Angelo out for the funeral of Pete Dunne, aka Petey Poppins, whose career ended when Tony D smashed it in with a crowbar last week. We have a casket in the ring, but for the respect for the audience, we have a closed casket. We're not going to show the body. But then Tony moves his mind onto bigger and better things. He starts mentioning out how, now that he's done with Pete Dunne, he's set his eyes on gold, more specifically North American title gold, to which this brings out Carmelo and Trick, or as we've affectionately come to know them, Trick Mello. And just seeing these guys go before we even get to what came next, just seeing Trick Mello and Tony going back and forth on the mic had me super excited to see this match come forward here. We got Trick and Carmelo saying, keep my name and keep my gold out of your mouth. And Tony saying, basically saying, I thought we were boys. And Tony's saying, no, I got my boys. I didn't take down the notes. I wish I did. I wish I could have went back.
JT, Jerry, Johnny, Sammy the Shark.
Yeah, the Shark.
Benny the Bowler or something. We had
something like that.
Tony listed out about 5 guys, and then Trick comes back and says Brian and Sammy and Ben and Jerry, and it was amazing. It was just pure talk the talk from all 3 of these guys. And then just to put the icing on the cake, we get Cameron Grimes coming out, following up on last week, saying, he's setting his eyes on gold. He looked both he called out Mello last week, and then Trick, you were there.
We got Darnell's here to help us. Don't forget about Tony's boys, Sammy the Shark, Jerry the Hat, and Benny the Brick.
Yeah.
He also said JT, which I think was a nice little shot that Mello gave him for JT Dunn in Chaotic Wrestling, who Christian Casanova worked with many a times. Well, we'll get to that later. Hold that thought, Mike. We will get to that.
There, Mike. We'll ignore the first question, but if you're calling Tony D a bad gimmick, I got bad news for you, because Tony D is the best thing going on this show right now, and I take that as a personal insult, sir. Tony D is going right to the top in this company. He's going to have an amazing match, likely next week. I don't know if we got it confirmed or not, but
yes,
they
next
did
week
end up
versus
setting
Cameron
up this
Grimes.
promo that we are getting Tony and Cameron for the number 1 contendership. Hopefully it ends up being either Tony and Mello. Personally, I want to see this as a triple threat. Seeing these 3 or 4, if you include Trick, going on the mic together today, I want these 3 on the mic for a longer feud building into a triple threat. because I think their three styles all work so well together that will be a killer triple threat match.
Astrid.
Yeah, this was one of those segments that I was like, okay, I'm excited for this with Tony already. And then Trick Mel, I'm like, okay, I'm liking this even more. And then Grimes comes out, I'm like, I love this. Give it to me. I was like hoping they would do some tag team match first and then do the number one contest to kind of extend it a little bit longer. But I'm guessing it'll go the other way around most likely somehow. But yeah, definitely interested in it after the promos tonight. I'm excited for this. I can't wait till they do it. I am hoping to do a triple threat as well because I think it will be more interesting for all three of the guys involved, and obviously having having Trick around in there too. So yeah, pretty nice.
I mean, this as you guys said, there's nothing more to be said. These guys are fantastic on the mic. They can all hold their own. Nobody outshines the other. They all just work so well together. I did love Trick saying that we dressed for the occasion, as Mello's in literally just the vest, a black vest, and Trick has this big, huge black pea coat on. Oh, just fantastic. And how insulted Trick was that they weren't boys, and he's like, teammates, baby, but boys, no, I got boys. Tony.
When Trick first walks on the scene, and no, we'll let you finish.
That was Mello. Yeah, I love that Kanye reference. There was a bunch of cool references tonight that I picked up on. Ashley picked up on that one quicker than I did.
I'm gonna let you finish. I picked up on it like that. So
I'm gonna let you finish, but first, hold on. This was fantastic. Honestly, I want to see Grimes versus Mello, and then I want to see Tony interject himself in that to get to the triple threat. I want to see multiple singles matches between these guys as we get to that triple threat. I don't want to rush to that triple threat. Have the one-on-one match next week. Have somebody win clean or dirty. If you have Tony win dirty, fine. But have Grimes win clean, have Tony win dirty. Give me a one-on-one that the other person gets involved with. So say Tony wins and it's Tony versus Mello. Grimes comes out and he gets involved with Trick and it leads to a schmoz finish and they get to a triple threat. Cool. I'm in for that. If it's Tony D coming in to try to get in there because he lost fair and square and he's irritated, cool. That's more heel heat for him, and I'm in for that. There's no bad way to do this as long as they keep doing it.
Yeah.
While the triple threat, I think, is what I want to see at the end of all of this, I'd love to see the intermingling of all these guys together. Hell, do the stupid WWE tag team match with Grimes and Tony D on one side and Trick Mello on the other. I want to see it all. I want to see all of it. I want this thing to go for 2 months and have all these little things thrown in. It's going to be fantastic. For me, I'm going to the main event for the things that I loved. That main event, as Cody said, something slaps.
I said it earlier in the week when they first announced over the weekend. Yeah. I said this match is going to slap. And absolutely, that first slap Roddy hit.
Yeah. Darnell says he kind of wants to see Trick versus Tony. Like I said, whatever mix of these four guys that you can give me, I want it. I want all four of these guys just mixing it up over and over again. Can they coexist? They probably can't, but we'll see if they can. But no, Roderick Strong versus Walter was everything it needed to be. This match could have been double the length, and I'd have been thrilled, but I didn't lose anything by this match being 10, 15 minutes. It was hard hitting. It was it's everything of a Gunther match is supposed to be. Just saying it. It's everything of those Gunther matches that I've been watching from WXW and Progress and all of those wonderful promotions that Gunther's been a star in. Just I'm trying to get myself used to it. I'm trying to drill it into my own head now because they're going to make me. As Mike says. Ugh. Yeah. I don't like it. I think it's bad. That being said, as long as they book him well, I don't care what his name is. As long as they book him well. As long as they book him well, we've gotten over the Viking Raiders. the War Raiders to the Viking experience to the Viking Raiders. We got over it. Don't look at me. I didn't make the choice. It's bad. I didn't make the choice. I wish I could change it. I do.
I wish I could hear it.
We didn't. The best part is we didn't even hear it. We all thought he said Imperium.
No, I didn't understand what he said. I was trying to like picture it. I knew it wasn't Walter, but I was trying to picture back. What did he say? And then I had somebody tell me, talk about the Nazi thing, and I was like, wait, what? So I had to go back on the Twitter account. I heard the clip, and I can't unhear it now. I just like I can't go back afterward to it.
Yeah, no, I heard Gunther. I was a little confused by it because I hadn't heard the news about the copyright and trademarking and whatnot, and the full name and the backstory of it until we started talking about it. But I definitely heard Gunther in the moment and was like, wait, are we changing the name of the group? Because right after that is when Marcel and Fabian hit the ring, and I was like, are we changing the name of Imperium to Gunther now? I'm like, what's going on here?
I mean, Suzuki Gunther?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. Like I said, names aside, it is what it is. Like, we'll get over it. Like, at the end of the day, a name isn't that big a deal. As long as the talent is booked properly. And no, Mike, I'm not taking the bait on that one while I finish my thought. Crap, I'm going to do it anyways.
I was already planning on it. I was going that angle when you got to me, so.
Yeah. Let's hope that it's just poor planning. Piss poor planning that leads to piss poor performance. Like, I don't know. They can't screw up Walter, right? Like, they can't, right?
Well,
like, I know I said it when Karrion Kross came up, and I'm like, well, they can't screw up Killer Kross. And they did. And they can't screw up Samoa Joe, as Mike says. And they really didn't in NXT. Samoa Joe and all the times he was in NXT was great. Finn Balor was great in NXT. So I have all the faith while he's in NXT that he's going to be fine. I really do. I do.
I would if it was still the same team.
They can't. I know it's not that NXT. I'm trying to be blissfully ignorant that not everything's going away.
I'm speechless still, so sorry.
So Gunther beat Roddy Strong after Roderick Strong hit him with a Claymore and Gunther kicked out. And then Gunther went ahead for a powerbomb and it got reversed. They did a couple things. And then Gunther finally got the powerbomb and he nailed it. And he went ahead and pinned him and got the win. After the match, Imperium comes out, starts attacking Roddy. The Creeds come out. It's a Pier 6 brawl. It's great. Reminds me of old Nitros when everything would be going haywire and they'd go off the air going, we don't know what's happening. We'll see you next week. It was great. I loved it. That's how wrestling programs used to go off the air when I was a kid, and I loved it. This is fantastic. All the stupid name aside, this is good. Walter was confirmed to be here full time in NXT. We got that confirmed, so that's nice. Your guys' thoughts on the match?
You want to go first, Astrid?
I still don't know what to think at this point. I feel like I like I told Ed before the show started, just like I feel like I forgot what the show was after the name thing. I feel like I'm blank at this point. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Yeah. It just overall, yeah, I like the match. I enjoyed it. I'm glad it went over too. I wish I would have had more time because it was that good. Yeah, just like I feel like it went whoop, and then like that because of the name. But I'll try to stay up here and forget about the name part of it. But other than that, I enjoyed it. So.
Cody?
The match, as I so eloquently put it, the match slapped. It absolutely did. It was 4 months ago we got Roddy versus Ilya, and now we get Roddy versus Walter, and Roddy has rocked it with both of them. It was a fantastic debut for Walter for anyone that hadn't seen him anywhere else prior. this is a great way to bring him in and introduce him from a match standpoint. Obviously, lots of people would have seen him from the the 6-man tag just a couple weeks back, but as far as a singles wrestler, this really kind of put him on the map as somebody not to be messed with. The Imperium and Diamond Mine feud, I'm really excited for. That 6-man is going to be another great way to make Imperium look like a dominant 6-person unit. We're coming out of this week with Diamond Mine looking like a dominant unit as well. I still think Roddy Strong is not long for the Diamond Mine. I think he's more and more becoming the weak link. We got a Creed Brothers win. We got Ivy Nile this week. And now we got Roddy falling for his second marquee main event match in a row. I hope it's not Roddy out the door. I hope it's just Roddy finding another place for him in NXT or in WWE. But at the end of the day, I think we're really, really heading towards Bivens just kind of pushing Roddy out of the group. But to the name, Gunther's not a bad name. If nothing had leaked about the full name trademark, if nothing had come out and, all of the Nazi history behind Gunther Stark and the negative connotations of everything that's coming along with it, and everybody assuming that we're going with the full first and last name as opposed to just Gunther, if he had just come out and renamed to Gunther, we would all be a little concerned at the fact that they're renaming Walter. But it wouldn't be as mass panic as it is because of internet leaks and people looking up and doing history and finding what the name actually, where it came from and where it was used last. In that sense, I'll leave it to the next couple weeks and see where we go with it. I really, really hope WWE has enough sense to not pull to not put the last name on him and just keep him as a single name star. But as Mike put out earlier, the Axis Powers is something that you're putting a name on him that now people have pulled and found Nazi history with. You have German Marcel Bartel. You have Austrian Walter portraying more of a German ring general than Austrian. And you have Italian Fabian Eichner. We are setting up very easily for WWE to start dipping into Axis Powers and having a Team USA hero team formed to take them down, potentially nuking Jacket Time on the way to it. That
I tried.
It's concerning when you start digging too deep into it, that I think NXT for the most part hasn't really let us down on anything in this sense, that it is something where we have to wait and see, but it's definitely a concerning angle to be looking at going forward.
I mean, Mike says it, it's the perfect example. Changing Hulk back to his real name of Terry Bollea midstream. It's Gunther's agreed. Yeah, I wish I had some sort of an answer. Anything. I wish I had something. But it's WWE, and they can't get out of their own way sometimes.
Can we just start calling him Walter freaking Gunther?
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I know. I know that's the easy answer, but you'd like to think that there's more to it than trademark and merch, but probably not. Probably not. That being said, on happier things, I do want to make sure that we go ahead and shout out our sponsors for our streams. We have RK Athletics joining us. RK Athletics 1. Rich King is fantastic. I know I saw the other day that he put out that he is accepting new clients both in-house in the Edmonton, Alberta area and via personal training online. So go ahead and reach out to Rich King at RK Athletics 1 on Twitter and Instagram. He is an amazing man, does all kinds of great things, and helps make all of these great shows possible. Make sure to follow us on twitch.tv/lovewrestlingca for all of your live content. Make sure to catch up on all of our content at youtube.com/lovewrestling. Remember that you can get a wonderful mug like this one right here, not mine, this mug, at lovewrestling.ca/shop. You can also get stickers, fanny packs, masks, all kinds of wonderful stuff, including shirts. But if you're looking for shirts, you should go to whatamaneuver.net/collections/love-wrestling-ca to get all of our fine stuff. They even have B2Bs, between two beers stuff on there. I mean, I suggest that you stick to the love wrestling related stuff. But I mean, if that's your thing, there's Between Two Beards merch on there for you too. It would be nice to help Spencer recoup some of that budget that Spuggo is blowing.
So you can get my shirt when I release it. That's what you should do.
That's what we should do, but we're not talking about things that we haven't released yet.
I mean, we just talked about Roddy, didn't we?
Oh, dang.
And Roddy has a PWT store that apparently just got reopened randomly. Thanks to bodyslam.net for that one, letting us know that store is back up and running again. That was an interesting one. Carl telling me we need answers. You know what? I'll make some phone calls. I'll call my guy at WWE and see what I can get. I don't think he's going to tell me anything. No time for sponsors. We need answers. Ron Simmons apparently showed up in Darnell's thing. Damn.
Parrish isn't even here when we're off the rails, Ed.
I love it. It's great. That being said, while we're sitting here promoting things, I want to promote next week's episode because it's going to be a fantastic, fun night. Unfortunately, Cody will not be here to join us, which sucks. But we do have a friend of mine coming in for a one-day stop off. So next week, we will have Coda Holiday. She is an independent wrestler in the Chicago area. They're putting on a show. NLS is for everyone. We'll talk more about all of that next week with her when she's here joining me and Astrid as we talk all things NXT. And next week's show is... we're not talking about that part of it. Next week, we have a no disqualification match between Boa and Solo Sikoa.
Wait, false count anywhere though.
I couldn't care less.
More fireballs. More fireballs.
It's Boa. I couldn't care. We'll get to all that later on when we have to. Grimes versus Tony D'Angelo for a shot at the North American titles on this next show. We have a musical performance from Ollie J, I think is her name. I don't know. I did. Apparently she sings part of the song that NXT 2.0's theme song is. I thought that was Wale. I didn't know anybody else was on the track because I don't listen to it because it's garbage.
It grew on me. I like it now.
And then we have Toxic Attraction versus Indy, Persia, and KLR. So next week's got a pretty stacked show. But we're going to go ahead and go back to the beginning of the show where LA Knight shows up. And he's in it, and he pulls up in his car and he's looking for Grayson Waller. And he go ahead and I said in the chat, right from the get-go, this show went back to what me, Cody, and Ash love about it, that everything is fluid in this and everybody interacts with everybody else. He immediately walks up and he sees Chase and Bodie out there. And they're doing the Chase U thing and he's in for it. And he's like, have you guys seen Grayson? No? Okay. And he tells them that they're going to do well in the Dusty Classic. And he goes inside the building. And he
Before he walks away from them, though, he tells them, keep an eye on what's coming because I'm going to show you a teachable moment.
The teachable moment, which, again, putting everything together. LA Knight was on fire in this early promo. I loved everything he did in this. He tells the guys not to worry about moving his car. He won't be long. Mm-hmm. He goes ahead in the arena and sees JBBJ standing there, and he talks to them, and he even psychs them up for their Dusty Classic match, which I thought was great. Again, letting us know what's coming tonight through LA Knight as opposed to having to have somebody tell us, letting him interact. Apparently, he's a babyface. I didn't know, but cool. I mean, he's worse than Grayson Waller. We should have known he flipped to the babyface side, but cool. He's still a babyface. He gets in the ring, cuts a great promo on Grayson Waller, talking about how Grayson just can't get the job done. Talking about all these different moments, including trying to hit on the girl, and she turns him down because she knows he couldn't get the job done. I'm like, all right, A+, good job, LA Knight. This leads to Grayson Waller coming out with papers in his hand, and inevitably, when any wrestler comes out with paper in his hands, they instantly get upset because it's never anything good, and 9 times out of 10, it's what it was tonight. restraining order. Well, damn. However, as Cody put it in our pre-show chat, LA Knight was prepared for something like this. And he says, fine, if I can't get near you, I know somebody who still wants to get at you. And here he is. And Dexter Lumis music plays. And Grayson Waller's none too happy about it. And he's staring down the barrel of the entrance stage, waiting to go ahead and attack Dexter as he comes out. And Dexter slides out from under the ring and goes ahead and tries to put him into the silence. Absolutely fantastic. LA Knight then says you have two options. You can either get rid of the restraining order or you can face Dexter Lumis. We cut to commercial. We come back. Dexter Lumis versus Grayson Waller, and LA Knight has vacated the building. Your guys' thoughts on the opening promo sequence there?
Amazing. I was not a fan of LA Knight prior to this. I kind of popped for him coming back last week and attacking Grayson, but prior to this opening segment, I had not understood the allure of LA Knight. And just, interacting with Chase and Bodie, interacting with JBBJ, telling them to kick some ass tonight, coming out, the can't get the job done promo on Grayson, calling him out, putting the mic down, then picking it up and being like, no, I knew this is what was going to happen. And continuing on to being prepared for Grayson to have some kind of chicken way to back out, and having Dexter Lumis sitting lying under the ring, waiting for his moment to strike. It was so well done, and it really just put LA Knight into a new light for me. It affirmed that when Grayson turned heel, we ultimately ended up getting a double turn out of it without necessarily even realizing in the moment that LA, I think it's because Grayson succeeded so well at putting himself so high into the heel ceiling that he's just flying so far above everybody else in terms of overall hate that you can't possibly not cheer an LA Knight for standing up against him.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I feel like more than anything, I like the pacing of it because he didn't stop it going on from the outside all the way to the ring. And even with the commercial, the pacing was so well done. And it's just I think I wasn't really a fan of LA Knight until that promo he had backstage before the War Games with the guys. That was my favorite promo event. That made me like him. And then tonight made me like him even more. And not only that, but having the crowd go behind him and chanting the yeah whenever he did it behind him. I thought it was so well done, and how active the crowd was during his promo. It really helped a lot when showing him as a babyface more than anything. And having Dexter, I'm like, I love Dexter anytime he shows up on my screen, so I will not say no to that. And overall, I like the match, and I liked how it all went to a good sequence, and it wasn't interrupted in a bad way. So I really enjoyed it overall. That's one of my favorite parts of tonight.
We then got the as I said, the match between Dexter and Waller. It was a fine match. It is what it is. Grayson Waller wins after his new heater, which is named. He's the guy who was part of Indus with Veer.
I don't know if we actually got a proper name for him tonight, though.
Okay.
I don't think they ever actually announced what his name is going to be in NXT. He just showed up, knocked out LA Knight, threw him into the rolling cutter that you love so much. And
it takes so much setup. And a night like tonight, there are some nights where he hits it flawlessly. And then there are nights like tonight where he just doesn't. And he his shoulder hits the ropes and his feet hit the ropes, and it just looks worse. And it takes so much of a setup. And I want him to have a better finisher because I think he can. He reminds me a little bit of Mark Marrow, the way he dresses with the long boxing shorts and stuff like that. I almost want him to have a TKO finisher, like Mark Marrow's old TKO. I think that would be great. It's definitely kind of a heel move. I think he's big enough to pull it off. Yeah, he was Veer's partner before Veer went up to the main roster. This is the guy who was the dumb one who spoiled Keith Lee winning the double championship. As I said in the group chat, apparently he's out of his Keith Lee-shaped doghouse from the NXT crew. But Grayson gets the win. We then had a promo package from .com that showed how he got to Walter versus Roddy. which was fantastic because it included both Roddy, Walter, and Malcolm Bivens. Because at this point, it was still Walter. We then had a promo package for all the teams in the Dusty Classic. The 8 teams we all thought were going to be there, with the exception of Malik Blade and Indris Inofe. And then we got to the Creeds versus JBBJ. But as I have in my notes, but first, we have MSK backstage cutting a promo, which are then joined by Legado del Fantasma. And I'm like, great. And then Legado said, those guys are going to be easy work. And I put in the group chat, oh God, they're losing. I knew right there at that particular moment. The moment they said, oh, this is going to be easy work, just watch. I'm like, oh no, Legado's losing. This is bad.
I got there before they even said that line. I got there from them just saying, you're going to meet us in the semifinals.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, they weren't even wrestling a first round matchup almost. I was like, uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this we all saw it coming before it happened. But they were like, nobody saw this coming. I'm like, the 3 of us all called this. I mean, hell, last week we petitioned whether or not they were going to go all the way to the finals.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. I then need somebody else to pick up the notes here, because after the JBBJ match, I went and used the restroom and missed about 3 segments.
I think you had better notes on this than I did, Astrid. I had the one that I put in the chat, but you had all the rest.
Yeah, I know we had the video package for Dante coming back, talking about how he got injured while he was training, then his father told him to push so he could return. And he said he lost his father 2 months ago, so he's not going to see him return to the ring like he wanted to. And then they showed Imperium backstage. I'm not sure this is the time when Walter does the promo, because I didn't take the notes on like what he said. I just took the notes that it happened. And then we got Dante Chen versus Guru, which is Guru Raj, which is they obviously went for the quick like offense from Guru, and then just like it started, it was over because he got attacked. I like how Cody was like, "Who was that? Duke Hudson?" I was like, "Yep." I like how we reacted so quickly for this one, but it was Duke returning. And he attacked both of them in the ring, and he got like the matches and the DQ, and the refs are all kicking Duke out of the ringside. So, Ed, if you tell me how you feel about that part, even though you missed it.
I mean, I'm excited for Dante Chen. We all were like, we forgot this guy existed, but this promo, like, it was a really good promo for him. Like, I remember watching that promo. I'm like, that's really cool. I like this. I want to see what he's going to do next. Oh.
No.
You losing Ed too, Astrid?
I
think we lost Ed.
Yep, he's pulling a parish on us.
Come on, Ed. Get that toaster
You're on
internet
my
back together.
Well, Cody, go ahead while he goes.
Yeah, I mean, like he said, I hadn't even remembered that Dante existed, that we'd seen a debut for him. The promo started, I was like, who is this guy? And then they showed kind of the one match of his that we got, and I'm like, oh, right, that guy.
Yeah.
It was a really heartfelt promo that they, like, promo video they put together for him, though, about, you know, having won the match and then injured his knee training in the performance center, and how his dad, who had pushed him to be like a wrestler and to follow his dreams, saw that one match and then came back, or he got injured, and now that he's coming back in the last few months while he was injured, his dad has passed away, and so he's doing this all for his dad. So it's a really, really good way to put him back in everybody's mind. It was interesting the way that they pulled off the match, with it being a really quick, and then Duke Hudson being the focus of the match. I assume we're probably going to head towards Duke having to like clear through both Dante Chen and Guru Raj now, as they'll be mad for him interfering. But Duke Hudson, as I said in our chat, I'm like, Grimes broke Duke. Like, what the hell, Duke? He lost his mind. He showed up. He was in jeans and not actually having anything to do with poker anymore. Jumps out of the crowd, beats the crap out of the 2 wrestlers in the ring, and then jumps back into the crowd and walks away saying Duke Hudson's back. It was wow.
It was so quick too. I didn't think it was him at first. I kind of thought it was Roddy for some reason, and then I'm like, oh no, he's too tall to be Roddy. So I had to look at him for a moment. Like, oh, it's Duke, and that's when you asked in the chat. So I was like, okay, it's not just me that it took me a moment to realize it was him, but I'm glad it was him because at least we get a new kind of gimmick for him. So.
Yeah, like I said, the poker gimmick seems like it was a one-off gimmick just for that Grimes feud to kind of put Duke into people's minds and then move them ahead.
I think I'm back. Am I here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
tell us how you felt.
Tell us how you really felt, Parrish. I mean, Ed.
Leaving again, but first, let's get Cody out of here. Duke Hudson, again, I missed this segment. Duke Hudson doing anything is going to be great. The dude seems like he's got it all together. So if he has this maniac, I've lost my mind, cool. As Sean says, Duke had hair. Yeah, because they never really properly shaved him because it was never a good idea to make him lose that match. So other than to have Grimes break him. Darnell thought it was somebody from AEW. You know what? It definitely was an AEW debut because the lights didn't go out. Only time people debut in AEW is when the lights go out. You know, when that happens, something's going to happen.
Only when it's the House of Black. Otherwise, you get just a random
or Matt
entrant.
Hardy, or Brody Lee, or CM Punk, or Daniel Bryan, or
CM Punk. We didn't get the lights going out.
No, we just got weird cryptic video packages that said that they're going to Chicago for no apparent reason the week before big show. But no, Grimes is fine. It'll be okay. We'll see what happens with Duke Hudson and everything that goes on. I know I said Grimes there. I'm just gonna go by it.
Dante Chen.
Well, he's gonna be great. I'm really excited to see what happens with Dante Chen. At some point when all of this ended, we then got to a Braun Breaker interview where he was asked.
Oh, we missed the backstage stuff with Gacy and Harlan first. We didn't.
Yeah, I was going.
We didn't get to that. I'm sorry. I thought that happened when my power. Did its thing.
No. We stopped with the Dante Chen match. We hadn't quite got to the Gacy Harlan backstage stuff. Where, Joe Gacy's talking about how I wish we were in the Dusty Classic, but I'm not mad at you, Harlan. It's not your fault we lost. I'm just disappointed. Like an abusive ex-spouse or something, or an abusive relationship. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. But then they run into Odyssey Jones right outside the trainer's room with his crutches. Odyssey, didn't catch exactly what Odyssey said, but he made some kind of comment about it. And Joe
hurt his knee while training.
Yeah, Gacy kind of plays it off and still plays like the friendly, peaceful, whatever, and even opens and holds the door for Odyssey to enter into the trainer's medical room. And then after Gacy walks away, we got an awkward kind of side eye of Harlan looking at the trainer's room. And then as he starts walking, it cuts. So you don't know if he's following Gacy or going into the trainer's room, which we found out later which one he did.
And now the Braun interview.
And then we got to the Braun Breaker interview. And he was asked if it's finally sank in that he's NXT champion. And apparently it has. I mean, I don't know how. He's only been announced champion once or twice. Like, it should take more than that. But, whatever. Good for him. He's focused on, being the NXT champion and doing all the fun stuff. And then Elektra Lopez shows up. And he seems none too happy to see her. If La Madrina showed up during my interview, I'd be thrilled. I'd be happy and excited to see La Madrina in the interview. He was not. So he starts telling him that he's not interested in her. And then in comes Santos, and he goes, well, you don't have to be interested in Elektra, but you have to be interested in me because I'm coming for that title. And I'm like, yes, give me this. Please give me this. I don't care if Santos wins or lose. I mean, he's going to lose, let's be honest. But I don't care if Santos wins or lose. This is going to be fun. Because Braun Breaker doesn't cut great promos. He cuts good promos. I mean, he's a Steiner after all. Unless they're doing math, they don't have a memorable promo amongst them. So it's fine because Santos can carry that side of it like nobody's business. And Breaker's like, let's just do this. We can do it tonight. And he's like, no. You're going to learn, champion, young champion. My time. I did like how he stole Samoa Joe's young champion. I did like that. That was another little reference that I caught. He stole Samoa Joe's young champion. And he could just watch like he was talking to Karrion Kross. TikTok. Oh, poor Karrion. And then we got the Tony D Memorial for PDD. And we talked about how much fun this feud is going to be between the three of them. And then as Cody says, oh, Ed, you must have loved this segment. We got Jensen and Briggs backstage, and they're none too happy with themselves for losing, but they're going to get back to work. And as soon as they talk about getting back to work and, doing the stuff they need to do to get better and everything else, Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter come in and talk about going partying. And I'm like, great. And then she steals Jensen's hat and puts it on her head. And I'm like, great.
And then Wendy Chu.
And then I got excited because Wendy Chu was apparently sleeping on top of the lockers. Chu crew here. Yes, we are all part of the Chu crew.
It was right as Caden grabbed the hat, though, because they pan up to Wendy sleeping up there, being like, ooh, she likes you.
And Jensen instantly becomes a 12-year-old boy who's never liked a girl in his entire life, which I think is hysterical and awful at the same time, because I'm not sure that it's not the first time he's ever liked a girl. I don't know. He seemed really awkward for this not to have been something new. He puts his foot in his mouth trying to explain that he likes her, but he doesn't like her. They're friends, yada, yada. And the girls just say, go ahead and shower and we'll all go out. And they walk away, and then Jensen and Briggs walks away, and Jensen's left there, and he bangs the locker and walks away, and Wendy's just sits up there, sips the whatever out of her tumbler, and sighs happily and just sits there as we go to commercial. Oh, I love Wendy Chu. She's become one of my favorite things in NXT.
Wendy Chu even managed to make Ed appreciate a KC Squared interview or promo.
Takes a lot to make me like that. We then got, and I'm going to point this out. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to this next segment, but we had a promo for Faraz and Lyon. Now, I know I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it because I spelt Leon's name wrong by spelling it Lyon instead of Leon. So I know I didn't pay enough attention because they brought it up later. We then went ahead and got them doing an interview talking to Mackenzie about how excited they were that they had the promo package and they're going to apparently going to be in a Dusty Classic. And then Dakota Kai comes up and she does her talking to the voices in her head and telling everybody that success destroys friendships. And as Cody, how did you put it? Being Vince McMahon to any tag team or something?
Yeah, Dakota is Vince McMahon in regards to tag team wrestling or something. Just coming up trying to split up every team before they've had a chance to do anything.
Yeah, just as Darnell says, the Chu crew, yes, we are all part of the Chu crew. It sets up a match for later on. Cool. I mean, I'm all for women's wrestling matches, so the more the merrier. It was nice to have more than one match on the card because right after this, we got KLR coming to the ring. And I'm like, oh, cool. Who's she going to wrestle? They didn't have anybody come out. So I'm like, I didn't see anybody in the corner. So I'm like, it's going to be somebody coming out. Nope. I apparently somehow missed itty bitty Ivy Nile in the corner. And I'm like, KLR versus Ivy Nile with with nothing before it. Okay, cool. Ivy Nile looked great in this match. She really, really did. Although, however, I didn't notice how tiny she is. Because at one point, she put a headlock she put a double wrist lock on KLR. And KLR was on her knees. And she was as tall as Ivy Nile was standing up. And I went, oh, that's interesting. Otherwise, I loved this match. The match ends when Mandy comes out. Doesn't do anything. She just comes out and gets up in KLR's face. And Kaylee Ray gets distracted and Ivy Nile gets the roll up. I actually really like this finish. I think it keeps Ivy Nile looking strong, leaves her undefeated. She doesn't need to win, You can beat Kaylee Ray. There's no reason why Kaylee Ray needs to win everything all the time. You can still build a Mandy Rose match with Kaylee Ray and have her lose a couple times. As we saw when Mandy Rose attacks, Toxic Attraction comes out, bringing out Indian Persia. Cody, actually, we'll go with Astrid first because it obviously is the women's segment. We want to talk to our resident Astrid and the natural and find out exactly what she thinks about this.
Overall, I really liked it because I like having not only setting up the girls match for next week, which I'm really excited about, but also gives us like you never know what's going to happen for the Dusty Classic. So not only giving us the package between Leon and Feroz, because I like how they've been teaming up on 205 Live, and finally we get to see them on NXT and giving us at least some kind of highlight about them before they start the Dusty Classic, rather than just dumping them in there. First for that part. And then, yeah, the match overall, I liked it. I didn't think like KLR was going to lose, but I'm glad it was something like this, like not only the distraction plus the roll up, because I feel like it doesn't damage her that much compared to just like a regular pinfall submission. And the match itself, it was like probably like 6 minutes, but I did like the pacing of it. It didn't feel like it was 6 minutes. It felt like a little bit longer than that for me, at least. And yeah, having like India and Persia assist, that was the only thing that was kind of like random at first, but at the same time, like having like Gigi and JC being there, they want to go after the tag title, so of course that's why they attack them too, and they signal for the tag team championships. So I'm really excited for that match and having the girls be on the Dusty Classic too.
Cody?
Yeah, no, the match itself was really solid. I was really, as the match was going on and as it started, I wasn't sure that Ivy was going to win, but I was really just watching and really appreciating how much Ivy was getting in and how strong she was looking against KLR. That I was like, okay, at least they're doing this justice. If this is going to be Ivy's first loss, I appreciate that they're really still keeping her looking strong against somebody that's about to go on a title feud. And then Mandy came out. Kaylee went to try and take a swing at Mandy. And in this moment, I'm not sure what happened, if it was intentional or not, because Mandy got up on the apron. Kaylee took the swing, and then they cut to Mandy sitting on the floor like
she fell,
fallen down. So I don't know if she was supposed to take the hit and jump too soon, if she like got down and like tripped and fell and it wasn't intentional, but they showed it anyhow. It would totally fit Mandy's character though, just to fall down as she's trying to get off the apron quickly or jump off the apron quickly. And then the roll up giving Ivy the win. I said it in our chat though that I like what this did all together, because with the post-match like brawl that happened, you set up Kaylee Ray and Mandy for a feud. You keep Ivy remaining undefeated without really taking away from Kaylee's momentum, because it was kind of a distraction finish right as she was about to hit the KLR bomb for the win. And you have Indy and Persia, who've been talking a lot about the titles while Gigi and JC have been off TV. And now the first time that Gigi and JC show back up in the ring, Indy and Persia are there to stand up and stop them from a 3-on-1 beatdown of whoever is challenging Mandy. So you've got two solid feuds coming up out of this. We've got a 6-woman match next weekend with Kaylee tagging with Indy and Persia. But you've also got now Ivy with a very high caliber win under her belt that you can really start pushing her as that head woman of the Diamond Mine, if, as we've suggested, Roddy might be looking on his way out of the Diamond Mine.
Yeah, I mean, this did so many things for so many people. And speaking of being a champion, we're going to move things around for a minute here, because if you want to be a champion in the bedroom and you want to be a champion for your significant other, then you need to learn about the Lawnmower 4.0. Remember that support for Love Wrestling and support for NXT is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. And with this exclusive offer, we can give you free worldwide shipping and 20% off your purchase by using Love Wrestling at manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com, manscaped.com, and use the promo code Love Wrestling. The Lawnmower 4.0 from Manscaped is absolutely fantastic. It's got the light to help me out so I can make sure I'm seeing what I need to do. It doesn't nick or cut. It's fantastic. I can use it in the shower. I can use it when I'm out of the shower. It comes with these great little newspaper things so that, when I'm down there and I'm trimming, all the hair falls onto that. So all I have to do is take that, roll it up, throw it away. It's fantastic. Cody, you're enjoying yours, aren't you?
Absolutely. It's made life so much easier for taking care of my downstairs. It's made grooming an easy task as opposed to a chore. It makes sure that I don't nick or cut. I'm sure most men have at some point or another nicked themselves while trying to get to the areas that are harder to see and harder to reach. Giving me that the flash or the extra light on it to see what I'm doing, giving me a nick-proof protective cover on the edge there. Wonderful electric motor that takes care of everything without any kind of damage or pulls of any kind. It's been wonderful, and the additional bonus has been the preserver and the reviver for the crop, as well as just the multiple options available besides just the lawnmower that Manscaped has for us.
Yeah, and they have a fantastic line. So go ahead and go to manscaped.com and go ahead and enter the code LOVEWrestling. Get 20% off and free shipping with Love Wrestling at manscaped.com. And your balls will definitely thank you. All right. We'll bring Astrid back in. Hello, Astrid. Welcome.
Ooh,
Did you miss us?
no.
We then got Harland attacking Odyssey Jones, which was no big surprise. And Odyssey Jones is down on the ground. And as I said in the chat, naughty Harland. Naughty, naughty. Being a naughty little boy. I mean, there's really not much to say about this. When they showed us with Odyssey Jones earlier and Gacy making all his comments, it was kind of coming.
You did call this one last week, though, Ed. When we were talking about potential threats and potential feuds for Harland coming up and somebody who could actually stand up and hold their own, I remember you saying Odyssey.
Yes. I didn't realize he was injured at the time, but yes.
We're definitely heading in that direction, it looks like. I don't know how long Odyssey's supposed to be out for, but when he's back and ready to go, I think we're heading towards Odyssey and Harland as his first big feud.
Yes. We got a new friend in the chat. We got Supersonic 19. So thank you, Noob and Co, for jumping in here. We also are getting ready to go to that Saray promo that I didn't realize was Saray when it started. And Sean Cena says the same thing. Am I the only one that didn't think that looked like Saray and her? Yeah. I didn't realize it was her until they pulled out the whole sun icon thing from her bag. And I'm like, oh, it's Saray. Cool. This was a weird promo. I don't know why they're making her an anime girl all of a sudden, because that's what she feels like to me. It feels like an anime girl. Like, where was it earlier where we had, what did Mike say? Yeah. Mike called her a Japanese schoolgirl. I can't get the comment to load, but
it did come up. You just
okay. It was a bit confusing. Apparently she went home after, not having much success here and recharged her batteries mentally and physically. So now she's back and she's ready. And Cody, you brought up an interesting idea to partner her with.
I mean, I have a couple thoughts about the promo as a whole. It was definitely an interesting way to maybe put her in the light that when she comes back, now she's someone, that will be a little bit on a higher pedestal. She went back, she recharged, she found her motivation, why she does what she does, and comes back and has a new edge to her or something along that. But the schoolgirl aspect of it and the pigtails and almost like that alternate, it gave me a little bit of a vibe of like if Nikki Ash had, an alter ego character when she was out of costume, and we could see like Sailor Sun instead of Sailor Moon with Saray now. But my thought when you mentioned anime girl was pairing her in a tag team with Wendy. That we have Wendy Chu and Saray as like the anime girls.
And then you compared them to Jacket Time and you lost me.
It's jacket time.
Kushida. The funny thing is I love both of those guys, and I think that they're great together. And then they gave them the stupid name, and I can't forget that this all started with Ika Manjiro walking into the men's room and like talking to Kushida while he's using the restroom. Like, this is not good. Yeah. Oh my goodness, is right. I'm assuming this is for the Anime Girls tag team. So
Yeah.
I mean, look. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Saray is a fantastic talent. She's incredibly well versed in all of the wrestling. She hasn't connected with the audience in any way, shape, or form, nor have they really tried. So, 2.0, new coat of paint. Let's see what happens. Astrid, your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't even think it was her, to be honest, until they posted the picture of her like lying on the ground from the tweet that she had, and that's when I was like, oh, Saray, oh, okay. But I'm like, I don't know what to think about it at first, to be honest. It's one of those things. I guess I'll let it play out to see what happens. But
Oh no! Don't say let it play out. You know how that
I'm gonna
triggers our
trigger
friend
some
Zach.
people.
It's gonna trigger our friend Zark from the planet Ampersand. We love Zark.
Zark goes to bed too early. He doesn't stay up to watch our show.
Exactly. So it's funny. We then had the Legado del Fantasma versus Blade and Inoue. This match was actually really fun. Like, I liked the match. The match was really good. I was getting into it. Santos Escobar grabs the leg of, I want to say it was Inoue, and he does it right in the view of the referee. Like, come on, Santos. Was it Malik Blade? I'm sorry. It was Malik Blade. But right in view of the referee. Like, come on, Santos. You're better at cheating than this. Come on. Come on, son.
He needs some GYV training sessions.
Dang, Cody's at it tonight.
Cody just knows how to break me down, doesn't he? All right. But then, so Santos gets up as the referee's trying to throw him out. And then, as our friend Noob says, until Braun Breaker comes out and captures the cartel leader. He does go ahead and take Santos Escobar, and he lifts him off the apron, and he goes ahead and takes him away, which distracts Joaquin Wilde, and they get the roll-up pin, and Idris Inoue and Malik Blade win, and yay, that's all great. Legado del Fantasma looks silly, which is fine, because at least they look silly and they didn't just lose clean, so I'm cool. And it continues to be ships in the night. Nothing happens out of sequence. Everything is connected. So all of these things happening backstage, instead of just being a promo segment to, so like last week we had Breaker and Santos, have the ships passing in the night at the end of Breaker's thing with Santos coming to the ring. Tonight we get them in the segment where Braun Breaker's being interviewed. I'm like, cool. All right, they're continuing the thing, but that's all they're going to do. No, they bring out Braun Breaker in this segment. I'm like, all right, cool. They're at least keeping everybody together. I like that. Cody, your thoughts on this match, everything it's setting up, and what NXT 2.0 has been able to do this week compared to last week?
Yeah, I mean, this was probably the prime example tonight of things happening. Nothing happened in a vacuum. You don't have a situation where somebody's backstage interacting with one person and then later in the night they're doing something else and the first person doesn't get involved. And that's clear here where, Santos comes out and talks smack to the champ. So then when the ref is trying to kick Santos out and he's arguing and not listening, you have the champ come out and be like, okay, here we go. But the match itself didn't really stand out to me. I think we'd all just kind of put it in our heads after the Legado promo earlier in the night that Inoue and Blade were probably going to win this one. So it didn't really capture me because of the foreshadowing, I think. Interested to see what happens with Blade and Inoue in the second round, though, because they're taking on either MSK or Jacket Time, which we all kind of thought MSK was probably going to the finals and potentially winning to go face Imperium, but maybe now we've got MSK is, possibly losing to a track at time. Maybe they get upset by Enofe and Blade. I would not be surprised if we head to the Creeds winning this tournament and getting that shot against the Imperium, given where things kind of took their turn tonight. That potentially we could see Enofe and Blade kind of make their mark and show up in the finals and be the ones to lose to the Creeds. Legato, I don't know what to do with Legato at this point. I know we're going to head to the Santos and Braun stuff. I don't know that that's going to extend as long as you're maybe hoping it will. I think it'll probably be a couple weeks in a match and we're done, and then Braun moves on to what's next. Santos, Wild, and Mendoza just kind of feel like remnants of the yellow and black that are still hanging around. And I don't know that they have a place on the main roster, but I don't know other than being like potential gatekeepers to the championships here if either one will ever actually touch a title again.
Yeah, I agree. Astrid.
Yeah, well, seeing that part with Santos and Braun, it just made me really excited for the match. I know I'm going to be upset that Santos is going to lose it, but other way, I know it's going to be good. Yeah, the match itself, it was nice and fun to watch at least, and having that finish with Malik and Idris like winning reminded me back to what we said last time. It was like they're gonna win it all, aren't they? That's what made me think about from the get go. But it was interesting to see it happen still on TV, especially like Cody was saying, like who are they gonna get, MSK or Jacket Time? So that'll be interesting to see how that goes next week, I guess, or the week after. But yeah, other than that, I overall enjoyed it.
And now every rose.
I'm gonna grab this comment here from Sonic Quick Ed. That I'm very much on that same page. I feel like everyone just has a problem with 2.0 because it's 2.0. Because we've talked ad nauseum here about how much we all appreciate the open concept of 2.0 and how everything feels like it's still in the same world. That wrestlers pass each other in the entrance ramps, wrestlers pass each other backstage and actually interact with each other and talk to each other. And nobody just walks by somebody backstage without a reason for them being there. Whereas on main roster programming and even in 1.0, you'd have somebody like a Jacket Time just standing in a corner as a Braun Breaker's walking down the hallway and he has nothing to do with them. And tonight we get LA Knight walking through and talking to both Chase University and JBBJ. We have Santos interrupting Braun, so Braun comes out later in the night and disrupts a match where Santos' team is involved. It feels cohesive. It feels like the show all runs together, and I very much agree that 2.0 in a lot of ways is better than 1.0. 1.0 had a lot more known entities, known names, qualified people that had resumes backing up what they're doing, but I feel like the storytelling as a whole in 2.0 is a lot more thought out.
My thoughts on it is that the storytelling is better, but the matches you're not getting the 5-star matches that you used to get. We're not getting your takeover level matches where every takeover is going to be 3.5 stars or better. You're going to have nights where we had last week where the show feels like it's off the rails, and then a night like tonight where everything clicks and almost nothing feels bad. We're going to get to Every Rose Has a Thorn coming up very soon. But it feels so nice to have a wrestling product, like Cody says, that everybody feels interconnected. No matter who you are, what level of the roster you're at. And I'm going to skip to this segment now because we're talking about it. You have Braun Breaker coming out for no other reason than to solely get into Santos Escobar's business. Just to pick on Santos Escobar and prove that he's the champ and it's no longer Santos time, it's the champ's time. And then later he goes back and he sees Enofe and Blade. And like, thank you for helping us. He's like, I didn't do anything. I just came out and removed Santos from the equation. You guys did the match. You won the match. Good job. And he gave him a fist pound and walked away. And I'm like, you've got two guys who are essentially enhancement talent. And you've got the NXT world champion. And he interrupts he goes out there during their match. And they're excited to see him. And they're like, yeah, thank you. And he's like, no, I didn't do anything, whatever. You guys are great. Fist bump, move on. Like, that's the kind of thing you won't see on main roster television. It's the kind of thing that you need to see more in wrestling because that's the way stories would happen in real life.
Yeah, for sure.
The next segment was, and like I said, every rose has its thorn. We had a Solo Sikoa promo package, which normally makes me excited, except he has burns on the side of his face from the fireball that hit the front of his face from Boa. All right, we've talked about Boa versus Solo Sikoa. Can I move on now? I've given it more time than it deserves.
More fireball.
No.
Can we get Christopher Walken here asking for more fireball? Or is that something more for a white girl at the bar to be asking for more fireball?
Maybe Casey and Casey Squared are asking for more fireball with Briggs and Jensen. Who the fuck knows? Now I'm swearing on the show. Solo is going going to this for the tribal chief. I don't know. At this point, I just want Solo Sikoa to do something that means something. Wrestling Boa means nothing. Oh God, this show is off the rails.
Boa for world champion.
Dakota wrestled for Oz. The match was a few minutes long, and Dakota won. And great for Dakota to get a win.
And then she beat up Leon afterwards, so they're going to wrestle next week.
So cool. We're going to get more of these two. It's building to April's Women's Dusty Classic. We did have a chat question earlier. Do we think there are going to be 8 teams for the Women's Dusty Classic? So we've got Casey Squared. We've got Indy and Persia. We've got Faraz and Leon. We've got Raquel and whoever they paired her up with in the promo that I didn't watch because I went and got my Cora. Oh, great.
Cora is insistent. So Raquel's mad at Cora because Cora cost her the title last week or whenever that happened. But Cora's insistent that they're going to team up together. So when Raquel walked off, Cora said to Mackenzie Mitchell, "I'll convince her." Yeah. So that's going to happen.
I mean, because this is the bane of my existence, we're probably going to get Io and Zoe.
Yeah.
Probably.
So that's 6.
No, that's 5. I counted 5.
5. I can't count. All right, so that's 5. It means we only need to make 3 new teams. I'm sure they can do it. I mean,
that's why it's in April.
Again, that is why it's in April.
Dakota's obviously getting a partner.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. She's absolutely getting up. She might be her own partner. Because she's talking to herself. She might be her own partner.
If they really wanted to do it, they could probably give Gigi and JC into the tournament to try and, win the cup with their titles.
Sure.
Because I think they've done that before with Undisputed Era, right? When they were champions and were in the Dusty Cup.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be for a title match. Like, you could just do it for the Dusty Cup and have Toxic Attraction say they want the cup because it's shiny.
Yeah. Shiny. Sorry, I've been listening to that on repeat because of my girlfriend's son lately. So
we then had the Enofe and Blade backstage promo with Braun Breaker. We got the rundown for next week. And then we had the main event of Walter and Roddy. This show was a very Walter. It was Walter at start. It ended up being Gunther. From here on out, it's all Gunther all the time.
Walter beat Roddy by becoming Gunther.
Yeah.
Because he was introduced as Walter to start the match, but Gunther to end the match. So he became Gunther in that match somewhere.
He did. Roddy slapped him so hard during that match, he became a new man.
He became a U-boat captain.
From the 1940s, Germany.
Oh,
God, that name sucks. It'll be fine.
I'm about to clip it.
Who do you guys think Dakota could end up with as a partner?
I'm telling you, the best and most perfect gimmick is she teams with herself. Legitimately, honestly, I really think that would be funny. Like, she's talking to herself, she's hearing voices, and she knows that being friends with people and having success leads to nothing but heartbreak. I would love for her to try to enter this tournament by herself. I really think that'd be great.
Also, don't forget we've got Tiffany Stratton still kind of hanging around
Yeah,
somewhere,
I was gonna say that. Her, Wendy,
and Alexa
Saray,
Lopez,
and
and
that's one.
Saray, and Wendy Chu. We've got enough women to form teams to enter this if we really wanted to.
At least random teams that they could get kicked off on the first the first round.
And there are women that they could sign. Like, we brought it up. We brought it up. It was brought up earlier on Turnbuckle Talk, but Roxy had a tryout with WWE. Roxy just dropped the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship to Deonna Purrazzo. I mean,
Except for her name, but sure.
Deonna Purrazzo?
No, Roxy. I can't imagine the name she's gonna get in NXT after.
Oh no! I can't imagine what stupid name they're gonna give her. I mean, but I'm saying, like, there's enough time to bring her in, announce her in February, and bring her in for April for the Dusty Classic to debut her. Like, there's enough time to do that. So, like, it's not unheard of that she might be one of these randomly formed teams to bring her in and do it.
We'll name her Pebble E.
No, No, isn't the Pebble going to be Simone Johnson's nickname?
Oh God, I'm leaving
because she's the Rock's daughter.
Bye.
Astrid's left us. Sonic says Roderick Strong is going to AEW. Hope he'll have fun there. Meanwhile, everyone is triggered by Gunther. I don't think Roddy's going anywhere. Like, he might be. He just opened his PWT store again. He might be going. Rumor had it he had recently just signed a new deal, and I don't think he's expected to leave. Like, he could have asked for and gotten a release. It's entirely possible. I know that they probably don't have huge plans for him. If he leaves, he leaves. Like, I'll miss him. I think he's great. I don't think he necessarily needs to go to AEW. I think he'd be great as part of this ROH Impact thing. He's Mr. ROH. Before Jay Lethal, Roddy Strong was legitimately named Mr. ROH. I would love to see him return at Supercard of Honor for Ring of Honor. Have a mystery man.
I mean, he's only ever been in NXT, so he's probably only on a 30-day. So if we're doing Ring of Supercard April 1st, we have until March. Maybe he only signed a 1-year deal. I know everybody says he only just signed a new deal at the beginning of last year, but who says it was a long-term deal?
Yeah. Maybe he's worked something out and gotten it under, like, if they like you enough, they're willing to make deals for you. I mean, look at Chelsea Green. Like, I mean, they released her and all the horrible things that went along with all the things when they released Matt and released her. But when she asked, she's like, hey, I need to make adjustments to this 90-day contract because I want to work in Impact and I want to work for ROH doing things. They're like, fine. And they made a monetary thing. Like, there are ways to make this work once they're ready to get rid of you. They're willing to make things work when it comes to the money to do the things that you want to do. I don't think they think Roddy's going to make that big a splash. So if Roddy says, hey, I want to go work this ROH show, he's going to be allowed to go do it. And I don't see anything wrong with it. Yes, everybody's triggered by Gunther, but it's only because they changed somebody's name for absolutely no reason, and they didn't do their homework again. Again, for anybody who wants to know what we're talking about, search Submission Sorority.
No, don't.
No.
Content warning. Content warning.
The views of Ed Fries do not represent the views of Love Wrestling. Please do not Google this.
I mean, if they Google it, send the hate to you. I don't want any of that. I don't want to know it. So
you can find me on Twitter at edfries12584. Has anyone ever noticed that since Io lost the tag match to Cora and Raquel, could they be getting ready to call her up? Yeah, they could be calling her up. I think she's going to be in the Rumble either way. I know they don't want a ton of NXT women in the Rumble. I think there's still going to be a few of them. I see no reason not to call Io Shirai up. like I said, in the event you're keeping her with Zoe Stark for the Dusty Classic, that might be a reason. But she doesn't have anything else to do in NXT. So unless it's just to be there to continue to have great matches with some of this younger female talent, which is a perfectly great reason to have her down there, then go ahead and do it. If Mustafa Ali goes, we will miss Mustafa Ali.
I honestly believe the characters like Io, like Saray, like Fabian and Marcel, and Kushida and Jiro that don't have as firm of a grasp on the English language, NXT is the place for them. I feel like main roster WWE and the creative team that writes for main roster WWE do not have enough on their resume, I guess is how I want to put this, to show us that they can write properly for people who can't memorize an English script and can't read off an English script and can't cut 5-minute English promos. If their English language is not that strong, they either need a manager to speak for them, or they should just stay in NXT where they're lacking in the speech department isn't glaring. And for that reason, and that reason more than any other, I don't want Io on the main roster.
And I completely understand that. They don't have a good track record when it comes to cultural sensitivity. Point in case, the Kabuki Warriors.
I mean, even Asuka. Yes, Asuka has been made over as a dominant wrestler from time to time, but for the most part, she's also just been lost in the shuffle because she can't talk well enough to be a consistent champion and cut the long champion promos that WWE wants the champions to do.
And you've hit Noob Sarah topic, which is talking about Asuka, where he says she will be coming back from her hiatus. Yes, she will be returning in the Royal Rumble. We are all very excited to see the return of Asuka. Bobby wants to see Lash Legend wrestle in the women's tag team tournament. Sure, we can have Lash Legend in there. I don't think they were overly thrilled with her match on 205 Live, so I don't know if she's getting any more wrestling matches. I'm surprised we haven't seen a Lashing Out in a while. I assume we're going to get another one of those.
I knew there was the news that broke that they weren't going to be doing as much Lashing Out because they wanted her in the ring, or she wanted in the ring. Somebody wanted her in the ring, so they were not going to do the Lashing Outs. And then the 205 match happened that wasn't apparently very great. And now we haven't seen Lash on TV in about a month.
Yeah. So with that was NXT. It was a great show. We're excited for next week. With the exception of Boa, we're gonna have a great show.
No, we can be excited about that match, Ed, because hopefully that match is the end of this feud, and then Solo can move on to better things.
Oh God, if that match isn't the end of this feud, you will be getting a rant to open. I give you this right now. If I don't see the end of that match as the end of this feud, I will start the show after I announce my delightful friend on this show. I will rant for at least 5 minutes on Boa versus Solo Sikoa.
That will be NXT's happy birthday to Ed, is extending this feud another week.
For those of you who haven't caught on to my co-host's delightful points of saying it, yes, next Tuesday is my birthday. And instead of taking off from the show, I thought to mention, hey, we're going to do nothing special for my birthday. And both of my co-hosts have made it perfectly clear that that's not going to be the case.
I may just have to find a way to sneak away from work for 5 minutes just to drop in to sing happy birthday on stream to Ed.
Yeah.
Right. And with that, Cody gets the big screen to talk about all kinds of fun things that Cody's doing, including some news.
There should be news, but it's still not 100% confirmed because my guest is still up in the wind. He's flying around in the clouds somewhere, and I just have to wait for him to land long enough for me to talk to him. But I will confirm officially the launch of my own show that is going to be happening hopefully tomorrow night. So keep your eyes on the Love Wrestling socials at Love Wrestling CA. And watch for updates and news, as well as on my Twitter at Cody Defoe, for the launch of the Friend and Foe show with me, the foe, Cody Defoe. Yes, right there. It's coming. I have my stuff. It's ready. I just need my guest to give me the go-ahead that we are actually going to be on it. I will unfortunately not be here for the full week next week. I will be out and at work and not able to be at this work, but I will do my best to be in the comments and be following around for our wonderful guest joining the Natural and Ed. And then you can find me back here again in a couple weeks' time when I will be back to do the show as normal.
Astrid.
I'll be here next week. Yay! No, I'm kidding. No, so aside from that, still working up the women's show. And I can see you and I can still hear you, you know. But thank you very much. I'll be here next week on your birthday. Anyway, follow me on my Twitter. So when I'm not here, I'm tweeting about whatever I'm watching. And I'll be here next week with Ed on his birthday and Code as our guest. So I'm really excited to do it. So yeah, that's it for now.
And you can find me. Oh no, over here, right here. Ed Fries 12584 on Twitter. You know, if you need to rail on me for anything I've said tonight, that's where you find me. My DMs are open. Go ahead and shoot me a message and tell me that I made you search for delightfully horrible stuff. That being said, you can, like I said, find me here on NXTea, where I'm going to go ahead and pull up the banner again. We will have my friend, independent wrestler Coda Holiday, as she gets ready to promote a show that her and her friends are running, their first independent wrestling show in March, and we will go ahead and get into all the details next week. Oh, I love our little train wreck. I do. It's so much fun. This is the most fun I have all week. It's great.
Oh, you love us. See?
For Astrid, Cody. Over there. Yeah, there we go. Cody. Right there. I have to point in such a weird way to get to Cody. There we go. Cody. I'm Ed. Everybody remember to love wrestling.